Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name's Chris and it's fantastic to have you back with us for another video. And in today's video, we're going to have a look at the crypto market. We'll have a look at Bitcoin, a bit of a follow-up video to yesterday's video that I put out questioning whether the bottom was in. There's an awful lot of influencers saying that it is. My opinion is that it isn't. And I'm going to get into why I believe this. We're going to sort of dig into some of the articles that sort of, I guess, articulate it a little bit better than perhaps I normally do. If you enjoy this sort of content, mash up that like button. It really does support the channel, helps push out the content to like-minded individuals. We really do appreciate it. And if you haven't already, subscribe, tapping that bell, selecting all the notifications so you never miss a video. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes on this video. Show your appreciation, mash up that like button. Right, let's get down to the desktop and we'll start with coin market cap. And the total market cap for all of crypto is under 900 billion now. It's at $863.5 billion for the whole market of crypto, and Bitcoin is down 9.40% at $20,260. And yeah, it's not looking like a great market right now, right? And I think that, you know, we're in the Gaussian channel now, that with that going red, and ultimately this gives us an indication that, you know, this is the time to be accumulating. And obviously this is just my opinion, but you know, it's really important that we utilize these tools that Nick talks about, you know, the technical analysis, the Elliott Wave theory. Do jump in our Discord, link is in the description. It's free to join. Over 3,500 people talking about cryptocurrency 24/7. You can ask us questions in there. We have a chat function as well where you can chat and have more meaningful conversations with us. But we also have our Patreon as well, where we have a whole team of technical analysis individuals that will, you know, do TA on request. We have partnered with a VC firm, so we can give you access to private sales. I do write-ups on different projects, normally do one a day. And you know, I could talk about it all day. There's just loads going on in there, right? We've just set up a DAO, loads going on. So, you know, do check it out if that's sort of interest. Links are in the description. So let's get into the reasons as to why I think the bottom's not in. And I think the first thing to talk about would be the fact that the Fed is about to jack up interest rates, and that's what Wall Street's saying. Now, you have to take a lot of what you read in the media with a pinch of salt, because there's, you know, agendas behind a lot of it. But, you know, I really do think that, you know, the Fed becoming even more hawkish this week has really sort of had a huge impact on the market. And I think we're seeing some of this being priced in as we speak. So we might get a little bit of a bounce, but we are expecting lower lows. I think the other thing to take into consideration is the fact that Q2 earnings and guidance will become very negative, and that starts in mid-July. And, you know, in all honesty, I don't think that we've seen the pullbacks or the capitulation that, you know, I've been expecting to see. So I think there's more downside. Now, one thing that I would say is, you know, we shouldn't be trying to time the bottom of the market. I just don't think that that's, you know, what we should be doing. I think if you look throughout history, the wealthiest people in the world, they're not traders. You know, you look at some of like, you know, Jeff Bezos, for example. You know, he had plenty of opportunities to have sold his Amazon stock, and, you know, potentially benefit from, you know, not losing 80 to 90% of the value several times. And, you know, if he had sold, he probably wouldn't be the most wealthiest man on the planet, right? Alongside several others. I mean, Elon Musk would be another example of the same thing here, right? So, you know, traders aren't necessarily the ones that, you know, have traded their way to the top and become the most wealthiest people in the space. So I think the point that I'm trying to articulate really poorly here is that, you know, we shouldn't be trying to get the bottom. We're basically in what I believe is going to become an accumulation phase, right? Where, you know, generational level wealth opportunities lie here, right? And just because we're going to see lower prices, I always kind of say we should be, laddering our way into to basically get the best prices possible. Now, I get everybody's trying to make the most amount of money, or get the most amount of crypto for their money. I get that completely, but you've got to weigh up the risks, and the risks are that it doesn't go as low as you're expecting, and it bounces, and then you can't get back in, you can't get as much. So I think it's just my opinion, but it's definitely worth jumping in our Discord or becoming a Patreon member when we talk about a lot more of this stuff in heaps more detail on our weekly AMAs and stuff like that with the Patreon members. So, do jump in if that's of interest. But ultimately, the Fed, obviously, that this information will be coming out shortly. And I think it's one of those, it's having an impact. And I think, the cost of living, interest rates, all of this stuff, energy prices, is all having a negative impact on the markets. There's far less money to invest. And the other thing to also mention is, institutions are going to be selling off risk assets, in these times. And Bitcoin, unfortunately, is going to be seen as probably the most riskiest in some of these hedge funds portfolios. So it's going to be one of those that goes. And we've got to look at this like, don't be focused on the prices, and we need to be focused on the fact that this is just, a life-changing opportunity. But we are seeing a transfer of wealth happening right in front of our eyes, and some of us don't even see it. So lots going on. One of the things that I do want to sort of talk about is the Elliott Wave theory and stuff like this that's happening in the Wyckoff. This again would indicate that we have maybe a little bit of a bounce, and maybe we'll see that in the coming days. And then further downside. So there are trade opportunities, although I'm saying just make sure that you understand the risks. I think what I'm actually going to do, because it's not actually showing on the screen very well, is it? Let me get that, see if I can see that better. There we go. So you can kind of see that it's going to potentially bounce based on this if it's accurate, and then come down further, right? So ultimately, are we going to see this? And this would be our accumulation point. And I think, if this is lined up correctly, we'd be looking at July as a month where we would start to see, an upward sort of movement in the crypto space. So again, I thought this was a fantastic thing to just demonstrate and show to people. Now, the other thing that I want to also talk about is the fact that, although it feels really, really bad right now, actually, if you zoom out, and we say this quite a lot, zoom out, and you will see that actually it's not the biggest issue in the world when you look here. In the grand scheme of things, it's not the biggest pullback in the world, right? So I think it's one of those to be really, really wary of. And if we look here, Bitcoin's down 65.8%. Ethereum is down 74.9, BNB down 67.8, Cardano 85.4, XRP 90.9, and so on, right? This obviously shared by watcher.guru. So yeah, I think it's clear that we need to be aware of these things. But ultimately, crypto, but for me, is a huge opportunity. I think it's an opportunity, to change lives. But we've got to understand that we shouldn't be focusing so much on the prices and trying to capture the bottom price, and ladder in a dollar cost average, and all these sorts of things are really what we should be focused on. There's lots of influencers and people out there that would say now's not a good time to buy. I think when you look back in 10-20 years time, you're not going to be bothered whether you spent 2 or 3 cents more. Just my opinion, but ultimately I still understand why people are trying to capture the bottom. Just understand the risks, understand the stress and the impact on mental health whilst you're out of the market, and all that sort of stuff. So I hope today's video was useful, informative. If it was, and you enjoyed the content and you appreciate what we do here at Cheeky Crypto, mash up that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, tap in that bell, selecting all the notifications so you never miss a video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.